Indiana Jones and the Missing Live Letter, where the hell is this thing? Hello? Buddy, I had to join the Final Fantasy XIV Discord because I can't find this freaking thing. I'm still scrolling, how long was this live letter? Alright, here we go. Now that you have witnessed how chaotic this production can be, hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and we finally have some Final Fantasy XIV news. We had live letter number 83. Yeah, not 82, certainly not 84. We had number 83, the first of what is normally 2 live letters for each version update. For 7.1, we got some news. Let's get into it, let's react, and know a little bit about what happened here. Yeah, broad brush strokes, also known as I read their Twitter, and there's some juicy news here, so let's dive deep inside. Translations and news will be provided by the Final Fantasy XIV Discord. Translations by Miuna and Iluna. Let's get ready to rumble! So there was no trailer because it normally comes with the second live letter for each version update, so we gotta wait for that one. And I'll leave a link to the Discord that I'm using for Miuna's and Iluna's translations in the description down below. But we do have the patch art for 7.1, and it's rather interesting. And I can't really give much analysis here because half of it are references to Final Fantasy XI, which I haven't played. Go figure. But I hear it's pretty hype, and we have Bakul Jaja here, so you know Twitter's gonna act up. And we have insert spoiler for the ultimate with Reen and Gaia in the background here. That fight's gonna be insane, and you know it, dude. I know she isn't, but to me, this character in the bottom left of the patch art looks like Garuda to me. Though I'm fairly certain that's the World of Darkness, which will become abundantly clear later in this video. And in the middle, we have that two-headed character that none of us at the dev team thought would become so popular. Yeah, I bet. I'm still scarred by what I've seen about this character, Bakul Jaja. Mentally, deeply. These wounds will never fade. And the patch is called Crossroads, which could have an infinite number of implications. Could be in reference to the Alliance raid, could be in reference to the Ultimate, could be in reference to the main story. I think it's one of those situations where it will become clear after we do it, and it'll be pretty much impossible to predict beforehand. That's at least my knee-jerk reaction. And the patch will be coming out mid-November, which, not gonna lie, feels like it's 5 years away. But normally when it comes to Final Fantasy XIV patch cadence, it's really predictable. So some people have even reacted to the translation of Yoshi P's line saying, as an experienced Final Fantasy player, you probably already know what date this will be, but we can't confirm. And then the reactions is just November 12th. Shocker. No one expected this. We have new main story quests. I know. Shocker not. You'll also never expect this. But for a Dawntrail storyline, we have Wuklamot being present. I know. No one actually believed this would happen. Unfathomable. She never had enough screen time. Though to be fair, there's like 3 main screenshots for the MSQ here, and it seems to be focused more so on Galul Jaja, the kid, and Zoralja, at least his memory or so. So we'll probably get some backstory in regards to that. The first screenshot we have has Wuklamot and Kona likely in Tuliolol, in like the capital main building, acting as the Dawn servants. We probably just go there and they're like, hey, can you go check on Galul Jaja for us? Cool, thanks, we'll stay here. That's what I imagine's going to happen. We have another screenshot of Galul Jaja doing like the thinker pose from that one statue, with Cryo looking on like, oh yeah, I'm still here. And the fiends over at Square Enix gotta make sure that Graha's crotch is in the screenshot as well. I see you, you're fiendish, you're down horrific, that's a bonk. And then we get a back shot of Zoralja, not that way. What is almost certainly like an echo memory or something akin to that. That borderline looks as if he's staring off into Zadnor or the Bosjan Southern Front. I know he's not. The floating rocks remind me of that. Perhaps we're going to be digging into the origins of Galul Jaja, maybe who his mother is, or at least examining that time period of Zoralja being in Alexandria, that 30-year window, in that time bubble, essentially. I imagine they're going to delve a bit more into that, and as someone who drastically enjoyed the Alexandrian bit of the MSQ more than, say, the Tyrol parts, can't say I'm particularly upset about this direction for the main story. We know still very little, so it'll all become clear when we actually get a hands on this and play it. We have the type of content they always change the name of, like every expansion at this rate. It's now called, instead of Beast Tribe, it's now Allied Society Quest, and we have it for the Pelu Pelu. As is usual, the first, like, Beast Tribe / now Allied Society quests that we get are combat focused, and they tend to be pretty good for leveling all jobs daily. Just a nice chunk of of XP that doesn't take too much time. Bob's your uncle. And with them being merchants, I kind of suspect that the idea of this questline will be for us to go around to the various different people of Tyrol and trying to be a merchant or something in that regard, and then we have to defend them or go off and fight various things to collect pots to sell. I imagine that's going to be the vibe because we have one screenshot of the Pelu Pelu people that we're going to be interacting with in this questline, talking with the bird people. Good news for those of you who get sexually aroused by trains, the new custom delivery is with the trolley people. So yeah, we're going to choo-choo over to get some XP for crafters and gatherers, because I need to get on that because I need to prepare for cosmic exploration, and I've been slacking. Speaking of things I've been slacking on, the role quests, I need to get on that because we're going to get the culmination one here. This has been a thing they've been doing since Shadowbringers, where if you beat all the individual role quests available, then there'll be a culmination quest that unlocks after you beat all of them. We're going to get that quest for Dawntrail in 7.1. We're fighting a giant worm that's clearly not from Dune, and we have a little mushroom boy. This could be context from the role quest already. Again, I'm just really slow, apparently. So if it is, I wouldn't know. But I have heard pretty positive things about these role quests, so I want to get on it. Probably stream it as well. Oh god, that means I have to level healer. Oh no. They also said, or Yoshi P did say, we did spend quite a bit on this quest, just so you know. I don't know if they mean in terms of Hildebrand animations or like what's going to go on with this quest, but now I'm particularly intrigued. We have additional Wachumeki Meki quests, and there you go, pronunciation god over here, you're welcome. Again, I'm really slow when it comes to leveling crafters and gatherers. I need to get on it. We're gonna get more of these quests though, so that should come in handy for me. And Yoshi P says that this quest is sort of a finale for the business district. And now, the real content for 7.1. The thing we've all been waiting for. The thing that I arguably may do before the main story. That's right. Biggest dickus himself, Hildebrand, is back in action. And we're going to Solution 9 immediately. Actual cinema. I'm just saying. The Dawntrail version of Hildebrand. I'm a firm believer that if you don't like Hildebrand, we cannot be friends. I do not respect your opinion. I'm sorry, but you're objectively wrong. Someone is passing Nashu a bomb. No. I see that right there. First off, Nashu has the perfect react image that very well may be on the thumbnail of this video. Pure cinema, I can't wait. Give me more Hildebrand. In fact, make Hildebrand the main story. And this next part reminds me of the Stormblood Hildebrand quest, and that's not particularly a good thing, where it says 7.1 is sort of a prologue for the Dawntrail version of Hildy, but it should show the direction we're going. At least in my circles, Stormblood's kind of regarded as the worst part of Hildebrand. It's fine, don't get me wrong, it's just not as good as how glorious Heavensward, A Realm Reborn, and Endwalker were for it. But we'll see. I'm gonna play it anyways, let's be fair here. We're also gonna be getting New Game Plus support for 7.0, which is news to me, because I thought that was already in the game, but I guess I was just wrong. So, if you want to go back and see Living Memory in all of its carnival glory, you now can, without having to rely on weird glitches. There's another aspect that may not be relevant to a lot of long-term players of Final Fantasy XIV, but I think it's worth talking about briefly, and how it could potentially impact newer players into Final Fantasy XIV. So they're doing this thing called duty support. To my understanding, it's basically trust dungeons, but for Realm Reborn. You know, those very early dungeons where they had to go back retroactively to add in duty support / trust for. To my understanding, the ones that are required for the main story, they're already done and supported with duty support, but now they're going to start slowly adding additional dungeons on top of that. And they mentioned that support for the dungeon Halatali will be added in 7.1. And Yoshi P says, well, if you compare Halatali to the current dungeons, it's very different, you know. We might take 10 years, though. On Vale, maybe one day. Especially overseas, we're often seeing the feedback to have something for players that are kind of graduating, quote-unquote, from the Sprout status. Learning mechanics, skill rotations, etc. We're still debating about rotations because that would be a big cost, but we're starting with training specific for mechanics. And they're seemingly going to do this in that one piece of content that I'm pretty sure 75% of you haven't even touched, but you've seen all the damn time. Hall of the Novice. It's essentially a tutorial for Final Fantasy XIV built in-game, and seemingly they're going to be adding ways to train on certain, like, specific mechanics that you normally would find in Final Fantasy XIV there. And I think for newer players, this could be really good, depending upon how it's implemented. I'm not a fan of the idea that every piece of tutorial has to be designed for everybody. This is something where if you maybe are a bit rusty, you just don't know, especially if you're a newer player and you want to get into raiding, you want to get into content, or you just feel anxious and nervous about going into group content without having experienced these types of mechanics before, having a location like this where you can train on these specific mechanics could be very welcome. So I think this is a really cool change. I'm glad they're going in this direction. We would have to see its full execution though for me to be completely sold on it, because a lot of the times when it comes to tutorials, especially in not just Final Fantasy XIV, but MMORPGs, the execution is really important. I used to play World of Warcraft a lot, and they had this thing called the Training Hall. And for a period of time, you had to get at least a silver rank in it to do heroic dungeons. Problem was, there were so many people out there that simply couldn't do it. So properly executing tutorial content in an MMORPG can be rather tricky. They show off a few examples of this, stack marker, spreads, and tank busters. Very simple stuff, but hey, if you're a newer player, sometimes just getting a feel for these mechanics can go a long way. There will be some balance updates for PvE jobs with 7.1, but they're not going into it, but they did say they're not going to they're trying at least not to nerf anything, and it's going to be basically buffing people up where it's needed within the roles. There is some PvP updates though, and Yoshi P said, we made changes to hit detection. A good example are the Machinist Limit Break and Primal Rend on Warrior. A lot of times the animation hasn't even gone off fully yet, but the effect like stuns registered on you. This is changing now, and you can react with shields once you see the animation start. So instances of quote-unquote, but I shielded or I healed should be reduced by a lot. That's cool. I don't normally enjoy PvP in Final Fantasy XIV. I never found it that responsive or mechanically satisfying, so hopefully something like this can at least go in a good direction for me. Would be nice. He also says that for every job we're adding new PvP actions except for Vipe and Pictomancer, since they are absolutely new. Yoshi P even goes, my beloved Black Mage is changing a lot, so the play feel for some jobs might be very different. This is in regards to PvP, by the way. And there will be balance adjustments for Frontline and Rival Wings. And there'll be more information about PvP ranked in part 2 of the 7.1 live letters. And now this is where we transition over to more battle content centric topics. Oh, we have a new dungeon, God help me, Uweyawata, nailed it, Field Station, which seems to be near Alexandria, at least inside that 11 bubble that we're in. You can see the sky is awash with purple lightning clouds and all that. Seems like we have this field station built into the rock, like rocky cliffs that we're going to be delving into for the dungeon. Interesting premise. Yoshi P even says it gives you the darkness of the lightning element feeling, and you go inside and it looks pretty abandoned. Almost kind of seems as if you have blood at the bottom of these glass panes here as well. Seems pretty abandoned, or that something bad has happened here. And Yoshi P even comments that there's glass there. If we have a wall made of glass in Final Fantasy XIV, usually it breaks. And now we're transitioning to the part of Dawntrail that I'm gonna be of like no help in. Echoes of Vana'diel, essentially Final Fantasy XI, the raid series. The environment for the raid looks pretty interesting and seemingly is based on locations from Final Fantasy XI to absolutely nobody's surprise. I believe one of the original capital cities is one of the settings that we will see in this Alliance Raid series, with these screenshots. And I believe the first tier going off this screenshot is called Echoes of Vana'diel Part 1, GOOOO, The First Walk. We also have this really cool looking Alta-esque area that I know Final Fantasy XI fans already know where this is and who is associated with it, because I saw Jesse Cox's tweet, who also played Final Fantasy XI. I say also as if I have. Place looks cool. Yeah, that's gonna be like the depth of my analysis here, because again, I haven't played Final Fantasy XI. Looks pisser. If the boss design Dawntrail is anything to go off of, Alliance Raid could be really fun. And to no one's surprise, we are getting a new extreme trial, the Minstrel's Ballad, Sphene's Burden. This fight was absolutely insane, even on normal mode. I can't imagine what Extreme's gonna be like for this thing. I really need to find a group to get together to go after these extremes, because I need those wings. I think it'd be a lot of fun going at it as like a group from the community. That could be really cool. Who knows? But I just need to see, from the bottom of my heart, right? I need to see how they're gonna do the hole-in-the-wall mechanics for Extreme. Because I don't want them to just cut that mechanic. They have to go wild with it. There's so much you can do with that. Oh, cool. So the fight just, like, teleports you to, like, Ice Age. Maybe we'll meet up with Manny there. Don't call it a comeback. Unreal Trials are back. We have the Jade Stoa Unreal. Byakuo. An Unreal Trial. There you go. And we have an entire new piece of content. Buckle up. Chaotic Alliance Raids. We know they've talked about before having something akin to, say, Savage Alliance Raids. Something for like a 24-man group. And I found this pretty funny. So, this is a 24-man ultimate. Yoshi P immediately follows up by going, oh, no, that would make everyone retire. And we wanted to have sort of an extreme feel, but then the developer, Mr. Ozma, said, oopsie, it turned a bit more savage than extreme. We have only planned for this one for now, and depending on feedback, we'll add more in the future. And it's the Cloud of Darkness, who I think I called the World of Darkness before, Mayus Malos. Yeah, and this arena looks absolutely insane, not gonna lie to you. From the sounds of it, it's only that fight, there's no trash or anything, you just spawn in, beat that one boss, you leave, there you go, Bob's your uncle. This room just looks insane. Like, look at this, look at this! Imagine trying to wrangle 24 people to do this thing correctly. That's gonna be funny to watch. And Yoshi P also follows up saying there are unique rewards for this one. More on that in the next PLL, but it's a changed reward system that does give incentive to repeatedly clear and help out. For those who may not be familiar, they've tried new kinds of like dungeon-based group content back in Endwalker with things like variant dungeons and stuff like that, but the reward structure just wasn't up to par, and that was the biggest like piece of feedback they've got, is that they need to work on the reward structure to incentivize repeated clears of these other types of content. So I'll be very interested to see what they have cooking for that. So yeah, we have to stay tuned for that one. He also says he doesn't want to call it Savage, and that he doesn't think it's quite on the level of a 4th Savage floor. They're waiting for feedback. Okay, now for the thing we're gonna watch all the streamers clear. New Ultimate. This one can get juicy. Futures Rewritten Ultimate. This is going to get freaking wild. These ultimates basically are a story all of their own. Very long fights, hard as nails, and they do a bunch of goofy stuff in them sometimes. Like going back in time to save Harshafont, stuff like that. We have a cool image of Guy in the shadowy background here. You know this fight's gonna be an insane ride to watch. And for the real content update that everyone has been looking forward to, who cares about Ultimate, who cares about the main story, who cares about Hildebrand, who cares about any of that, we have Doman mahjong. They're adding voice reactions and commentary from the Scions. And then to wrap up, we have one little piece of housing things. That's the sentence. If your house has interior pillars, you can remove them. Rejoice! So yeah, 7.1 in a lot of ways is for the Raiders. We have some nice questing coming into the game as well. I'm particularly excited for Hildebrand as well. Chaotic Cloud of Darkness sounds intriguing. We have the Ultimate. The Alliance Raid looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Unreal Trials could make a comeback as well. New Extreme. There's a lot of content focused on combat here. We have the Allied Society stuff with the Pelu Pelu. So if you're a player that is focused primarily on the combat side of things, I imagine this patch is going to be very much up your alley. Playing a lot into Dawntrail's innate strengths. And if fight design can be as good as it was in 7.0, I imagine a lot of people will be very receptive to 7.1. And with that, I think I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and help support future content. I greatly appreciate it. Once again, thank you to Iluna Minori and Mayuna in the Final Fantasy XIV Discord for these translations and these screenshots. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to go join the Discord. Check it all out for yourself. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!